Saskatoon is running out of homes and we're seeing record highs. If you're thinking about waiting to buy or you're planning on listing this summer, well, you might be making a very costly mistake. In April 2025, we saw 440 sales, but only 681 homes were listed. So that means we're at a 1.5 months of supply, which is crazy low seller's market, and houses are flying off the shelves, meaning that it's a seller's market. And if the number of inventory and the sales continue at the pace that they're at, then prices are going to just go up even more. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what you need to know about what's driving the prices, as well as why inventory is so tight, and what to do if you're buying, selling, or investing right here in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. What's up, everyone? My name is Jack Bouvier with the Bouvier Real Estate Group here at eXp Realty, helping you navigate this dynamic Saskatoon real estate market, whether you are looking at buying, selling, or investing. Be more than happy to help out. All my contact information is in the description below, along with getting your free home evaluation, looking at all the properties that are on the market, or going and getting into my investor guide as well to help you find those off-market deals and build your real estate portfolio. I'd be more than happy to help connect, so feel free to reach out to me. My number's there, and I'd be happy to help you achieve your real estate goals. So first off, let's talk about the pricing picture. Now, for Saskatoon, the benchmark price has increased all the way to $422,600 in April, and that's up from $415,900 from just a month ago. So prices are continuously increasing here. So as we can see here in this graph, the price has gone up 7.1% compared to last year. So this has been a constant trend. Month over month, we've been seeing the prices go up approximately 5 to 7% per month within the past couple months that we've seen. Within this chart here, we can see that the price is just continuously going up, and the months of supply trend is also going down. So as there's less supply, the prices and demand just continue to go up. I don't see this curve ending any soon. We're almost at the brink of 450,000. The market's just continuously stretching our limits, and hence why we're seeing such a high price demand. Builders can't keep up with the pace of demand, and there's just not many sellers who want to sell their properties these days, hence why there's just such little supply, and obviously increasing the price as is. So detached homes are now at a benchmark price of $485,000, which is 8% over compared to last year. Townhouses were at a benchmark price of $353,000. Apartments are at $257,000, and semi-detached homes are at $510,000. These are all on the upwards of, on average, 7%, as I mentioned. And so all of these areas and departments are increasing in price, especially the apartments have seen a big upswing within the past 10 years. Apartments weren't doing as well in this category. However, now they are certainly been a more popular product for first-time home buyers and new Canadians to be purchasing these lower barrier of entry properties to call home. So we can see here that the average price is obviously around that 422,000. The prices vary in between the 300 and 400,000 price range. That's been the average. There's certainly some within the 200 and 300 and the 400 and 500 range. Those are the popular areas. There's less in the 100 to 200,000 range, and there's also less from 500,000 and up. However, we can see that this year in 2025, there have been more people who have actually been purchasing these higher end, higher price point homes. Potentially more people are looking at this opportunity to buy into that higher price point secondary home. Kids have moved out, empty nesters, situations of sorts like that, where the parents can move into their nicer dream home here in Saskatoon and sell off the properties that they first moved into with their original family as they're raising their family and getting the sweet gains that the market has been providing them, and then putting it into their next house. That's what I propose has been happening, because there's been a lot more in action and just overall sales in the higher price point ranges compared to last year, that is. So now moving on into the sales snapshot. We've seen a total of 440 sales in Saskatoon, and last month in March was 403 sales. So sales have gone up since last month, month. However, compared to last year, with the amount of inventory and sales, we're actually much less compared to last year. We're actually 15% less compared to last year, and also overall compared to the trend that we've seen at the start of the year. So we are actually sitting above the 10-year average trends, but on a yearly basis, we're certainly quite less. And actually, it's interesting that the detached homes make up about 239 of those sales. So the detached homes, those are certainly the higher in demand homes, and that's where the market is most active, especially in that mid-range 3 to 500,000, where homes are vanishing within days and over their ask price. So within the 10-year average, we're still up from that. However, compared to last year, we are quite a bit lower. We can see a good bulk of the properties have been the detached homes, and the next bulk has been the apartment and the townhouses. So now we can see here with the number of sales in each category, detached homes had 239 sales, row townhouses had 70, apartments had 116, so quite a bit more sales in the apartment category, which is 17% compared to last year. So quite a bit more apartment activity, whereas all the other categories, detached, semi-detached, row townhouses, multifamily, mobile, they have all been in the negative category. So there has not been as many sales in those other categories. However, apartments have certainly been going up in the number of sales. And hence, again, the reasoning behind that is because there's so many new Canadians and first-time home buyers who just want to get into the market because they know the prices are going up. So they're like, we just wanted to buy whatever we could get our hands on. And so they're buying those lower end apartments, which they're still able to call home, not have to pay a mortgage, or not have to pay rent. So they're using that to get into the market. So we could see along with the number of sales, just how fast the market is acting. On average, the homes have been selling in just under 27 days, where the hottest category in this range is actually multifamily. Multifamily buildings are selling within 2 weeks, and the other categories like semi-detached, row townhouses, apartments, and detached are all selling roughly around that 27-day mark. So not even 4 weeks, your property is going to be gone on average. And properties, if they typically are priced and marketed right and they have a presentation of offers, they will most likely get a very strong offer and they'll probably sell over ask price within a couple days. So something certainly to keep in mind. It's not just really a hot market, it's what I like to call a pressure cooker. It's certainly blowing up. If you aren't able to strategically navigate in the market, then you're going to explode. So if you are a buyer waiting for a deal, well, you're not just going to be competing against logic these days. You're going to be competing with lots of momentum and emotion and pent-up buyers who have been putting in offers and haven't been able to get a place, so they're just offering on properties, and it's sort of mayhem what's going on here in Saskatoon. So what we can see here with the sales, new inventory, and the overall inventory, it's all been on a trend downwards. The inventory is going down. The amount of new listings hasn't been able to keep up compared to what we've seen in previous years, and hence the number of sales is also going down. So it's a terrible recipe for overall bad market dynamics, where it's not favorable for typically the buyers. Sellers who are marketing and strategically pricing their properties in this market are certainly taking an advantage. However, if you are a buyer, you need to certainly come with a good strategy, which I will talk about here in a moment. We're not just seeing volume, we're seeing crazy urgency, multiple offers, shortened conditions, cash offers, all cash, and buyers are moving fast. Now moving on into the inventory story. Why are these prices climbing so fast? Well, it's because of the inventory, or rather the lack of it. Well, see, in Saskatoon, there was only 681 homes that were listed by the end of April, and that is down 20% compared to last year. And with just right now 641 new listings by April, we're still way below the 10-year average by 18.3%. So what this means is that the homes are selling rapidly faster than they're able to even come to the market. So we do need to have more inventory in order to keep up with the demand, and hence why we've been seeing such a imbalance in this supply-demand pricing market here in Saskatoon. With the different categories of homes, detached, there's the most inventory. Right now, 412. We saw 372 new listings. So both of those categories have been in the negative. It was for the percentages last year. The next category that's just as hot is the apartments. Currently, there's 153 new apartments that are on the inventory. and there's been 150 that just got listed. So there's lots of apartments coming to the market. However, the inventory compared to last year is still quite low, 13% compared to last year. But we could just see here that the apartments, there's 153 apartments for sale, and there's been 150 that just got listed last month. So that means that these apartments, they're getting listed just as fast as they get sold, because the ones that are on the market right now just got listed and they're probably not going to last very long. So as for the other categories, about 82 current townhouses for sale, and there's about 20 current detached houses for sale. And these categories as well are both down. So in total, 681 homes for sale, down 21%, and 641 new properties that have been listed on the market, which is down 12%. Now, what does all of this pricing, sales, and inventory mean? How does it relate to the overall market? Well, what I want to talk about here is the months of supply, which we're currently sitting at a 1.55, which means we're at an extreme seller's market. Typically, a balanced market is around the 4 to 6 months of supply, which gives buyers and sellers enough time to have their house on the market, market the property accordingly, and find a buyer who's willing to reason with the seller and hence come up to an agreeable terms. But right now, if there's no new listings that hit the market, we'd be out homes in just 6 weeks. That's what this months of supply means. So with the current pace of supply and inventory that we have, the amount of sales is 440, the amount of inventory we have is 681. So if we sat on that exact same inventory and we kept the pace of the current sales at 440, it would only take us 1.5 months to sell out all of the inventory, which is crazy low, very fast. It's certainly more advantageous as a seller right now, hence what this means. And so that obviously dictates that it is beneficial more so for these sellers to put their property on the market. And this has been a very big decrease compared to last year, where we saw a higher months of supply, but we're down 6% compared to last year. And compared to the 10-year average, we're down quite low as well. So the lowest categories actually right now has been townhouses. We're sitting at about 1.17. The highest months of supply is multifamily, and detached is sitting at 1.72, semi-detached 1.67, and then townhouses, like I mentioned, 1.17. So months of supply has gone up in those categories, but all the other categories were still in the negative percentile. So now let's talk about some strategies as a buyer and seller, as this is just information, but how do you utilize this information? How do you go about actually putting into practice and action into the everyday market? Well, if you are a buyer, I would highly recommend, even if it's not a crazy market like this, always get pre-approved before you even consider shopping for a house, because if you can't afford to purchase a house, well, you're just going to be wasting your time. So make sure you know exactly what sort of purchase amount you can afford so you can shop with confidence, you know your budget. And it also helps making a stronger offer too, since there's been times when I've been working with clients and they never had their pre-approval letter together, and so when we presented it to the sellers, they didn't want to accept the offer because we never had that pre-approval letter together. So that is a crucial component to get, because when you do submit that pre-approval letter with the offer, you're showing the sellers that, hey, we are serious buyers and our finances are all taken care of. And as well, this removes that uncertainty that the sellers may have that you're going to be able to close on the property, especially when you're going to be competing with multiple buyers. You want to put your best foot on the table, so make sure you have that pre-approval letter. And also, I would recommend working with a strong real estate agent and be able to put in a strong, clean offer. You want to put in all the necessary conditions that are going to be able to protect you, but at the same time, you want to try to write as most attractive offer as possible. It could be potentially all cash. It could be a higher deposit, it could be a higher down payment, it could be a quicker closing, a later closing, all sorts of things that you can work with the seller, maybe assuming the tenants or assuming some sort of items or condition of the property. Because if you can work with the seller in some way, shape, or form when they have the ball in their court, then you are going to be able to have a better chance of actually securing the deal. Now, as for sellers, you certainly have the ball in your court. The time is ready to list. You can get a peak price for your home. Homes are selling above ask price and they're selling within days. I would not want you to wait for the summer competition. Just make sure you market your property correctly, price it correctly. Don't overlist it and think that buyers are going to be willing to pay anything. You still have to strategically price and market your property in order to get it sold for the highest and best price. So do that strategically. Contact your real estate agent to be able to help you. I'd be more than happy to help out if you do not have a real estate agent. So feel free to contact me if you need any assistance in any of those areas. And now, as for real estate investors, one last area is there's certainly still deals to be had. I do have lots of off-market deals, and I have a team of agents that source good deals for my clients, and I'd be more than happy to share them with you. So there's lots of areas where you can still get a good underpriced property and be able to negotiate with the seller, do a little bit of sweat equity, renovate the property. So don't feel like since the prices are always going up that there's not going to be any good opportunities. There's still good opportunities, but the ones that do get open to the public market get snatched up very quickly because, as again, there's lots of demand. However, if there's a good off-market opportunity that I can share with you, I'd be more than happy to. And those deals do have quite a bit of opportunity and potential. Now, if you're wondering how any of this affects your next move here in Saskatoon, I'd be more than happy to help. Every week I talk to people just like you who are navigating this dynamic market that's moving crazy fast. So whether you are a first-time home buyer, currently selling your house, or investing or relocating, you don't have to guess your way through it. Feel free to call, text me. All my contact information is in the description below. I'd be more than happy to help out. Any of the links are all there as well, and I'd love to help build a plan for you and help you achieve your real estate goals. Until next time.